Imagine you were at a party, whether it's back when you were a child, during your childhood, or at college, and you see everyone acting a certain way. You see everyone going wild, but you're not the wild type. You see everyone talking to this really popular person, whether it's a beautiful girl, guy, whatever you like, but you're not interested in that person. What do? Do you go ahead and just copy them and do what they do, or be the oddball out and not do what they do? Because at a party, sometimes you don't know how to act. And with networking events, it can happen just like that also. So I've been to many networking events, whether it's an actual formal event called a networking event, or a gathering, a chamber of commerce mixer, a grand opening, gala, whatever you call it, dinners, presentation awards. It's essentially all a networking event, or at least you should be networking, right? Or what's the point of you being in a room full of people? Otherwise, you could watch it on, how do people do it now? Like on Facebook Live, instead of going there in person. So after going to so many of these different types of events, networking events, I've started to see patterns and the type of people that you see at each one of these events. And I'm gonna split them up into two different categories. So one, it is the industry related type of event. And then the second one, it is a mix of all types of industry into that event. So it's not industry specific, and this is the industry specific. So you have two, industry specific and non-industry specific. Now here's what I noticed in each of those two different types of networking events. In industry specific networking events, you also have one hot shot who's doing so well in that industry, and everyone's focusing their attention on that hot shot, that really popular one in that industry. And all people really talk about in those industry specific networking events is industry related. So for example, I went to a fintech event, this most recent one I went to, and everyone's talking about cryptocurrency, blockchain, using such intense jargon, leverage buyouts, IRR, there's different finance terms. And then the opposite, I go to networking after work in LA, and I find that really neat. That is non-industry specific. You get all sorts of people there. You have graphic designers, IT guys, HR solution, independent consulting. And I find that really exciting. You don't have one hot shot doing so well in that industry, a top level guy, and everyone's focusing their attention on that person. Instead, you have a variety of people where everyone's just getting to know each other, seeing what's going on in the business world or the world in general. So I find non-industry specific networking events much more exciting than the industry specific events. So if you're looking to get a broader perspective of what's going on in the world and business, I would definitely recommend non-industry specific events. And networking after work is the best one I've seen so far. And then of course, I go to a lot of real estate events since I am in property acquisitions, working with buyers and sellers. So if I had to choose, I always choose the non-industry specific, especially like Chamber of Commerce also. Those are non-industry specific. It's a variety of different businesses. And I think that's great because you get to link up, meet different business owners, and spark ideas. Perhaps you have an idea where you can piece together many different businesses together. Maybe you have an idea of creating a product, and then you meet a 3D printing company, because I actually did meet some 3D printing company, and I was thinking about developing properties, and I thought that'd be great. They can always create models of the property, take a look at it from above, and see if it's a project worth pursuing. So those are two different types of networking events, industry and non-industry specific, and the differences between the two of those. Then you're gonna find the three types of people you're gonna see at networking events, whether it's industry specific or non-industry specific. And that's based on interacting with so many different people at networking events. You really can categorize them in three different categories, and you get a sense of who they are after a while as well. So number one, that would be the shameless. They go around, talk to every single person. They could walk right up to you. Hey, what's going on? I'm James. And I'll admit, I am that person. I go up to anyone. I do not care what industry they are, how young they look, how old they look. I truly believe you can learn something from anybody because there's so much infinite wisdom out in the world. Someone younger can know more than you about a certain subject. So I reach out to everybody. I call it shameless because you really do have to be shameless, have no fear, walk up to anybody. And that is me. The second type of person that I've seen at networking events are the wallflower. They're pretty scared to go out and talk to all the different people out there. It's like I said, imagine the party. You see all these different people. They're acting a certain way. You don't know if you copy them or don't copy them, and you do your own thing. And this is what the wallflower type of person at a networking event does. They stay within their own circle that they came with. They would not show up alone to a networking event. And let me step back a moment. For the shameless, they usually do go to networking events alone, preferably with a friend or someone from their own office. But like myself, sometimes I don't have that luxury of friends being willing to come out with me at that certain event. So the shameless would still go out there. And that's why I say you have to be fearless to be shameless, because you would be going out alone, be reaching out, going up to all these different people on your own. And it takes time to develop that kind of skill. I would call it a skill because it does take some kind of art to be able to just walk up to somebody and not make it awkward. Although there are many awkward times, of course. But back to what I was going into. The second type of person you would meet at a networking event, the wallflower. You know, they're standing around in their own corner, perhaps holding a drink. They're shy. They don't know who they could talk to. But they do talk to people. So when someone does go up to them, someone shameless like me that would go up to them, I'm doing them a favor, introducing myself so they have someone to talk to. But overall, they do want to talk to people. They want to meet people. They just don't know how to do it yet. And I think we all start off, if you go into your first networking event, a lot of times you may be the wallflower. But stand around, if someone reaches out to you, get the conversation started, and then sooner or later when you have one little group, more and more people join your group and you start networking with more and more people. And then, number 3, the third type of person that you'll see at networking events are the social climber. They're always looking to meet some top hotshot CEO or executive and hoping that'd be the break into their career, and they're hoping to network with someone high net worth, and maybe that'll make the big difference in their life. And I would say I see the biggest failure in people like that. They're looking into a networking event for all the wrong reasons. They're thinking they'll meet one person and that'll be it, life will be good. And they usually don't, because I'll tell you the truth. A lot of the high level people, executives, CEOs, a lot of times they don't even go to these events. Or even they do, they don't really want to talk to anybody. They're going just to show their face. So I'm going to share with you later on what's the best way to make the most out of networking events and to enhance your career and any goals that you have in your career, in your life. So now that you're aware of the 2 types of networking events you could be attending and the types of people you're likely to meet at a networking event, now you can start making the most out of it by going in there with the right intention, with the right focus, and just overall knowing what to expect so you don't have that moments of awkwardness, or you feel awkward and all of a sudden that freezes you and then you're not able to talk to anybody anymore because you just feel a little sense of awkward, you don't feel comfortable, and that overall ruins your experience at a networking event. But when you go in knowing what to expect, feeling confident, just being open to what you'll experience, you're more likely to have a more fulfilling networking event. So I'm going to get started right now and share with you more insights about networking events, so the next one you go to is going to be amazing. So to start off, you want to give yourself a benefit-driven title. What I mean by that is this. You don't want to just stick to the title that your company has given you. For example, if you are in human resources, instead of saying, oh, I'm a human resources assistant, or human resources whatever, you can change it to, I work with employee issues to ensure overall good company experience. Something short and simple like that. Because usually people ask you, it's not what's your title, they ask you, what do you do? So instead of answering with a title, what do you do? Oh, I'm an HR, or I'm an accountant. You want to say, instead of accountant, you could say, I work with numbers to present a picture to understand what is going on. Or for me, something more personal that I use because I am in the real estate industry, instead of saying, I'm a realtor, when people ask me what I do, I go and say, I am in property acquisitions. I work with buyers and sellers to find the right property to start building their empire. Instead of saying, oh, I'm a realtor. I hear that so often. It sounds so boring. It makes me not even want to talk to you. So if you're at a networking event, when you start off like that, giving a more benefit-driven title or description to what you do, it makes people want to talk to you more likely than if you were to give a boring title, and then you could start the conversation more. Oh, okay, you do, like for myself, an example. Oh, you do property acquisitions. What's the biggest acquisition you've done? It gets a conversation going. It creates this image in the head of what you do instead of a title, and then they have to piece it together in the head. Oh, realtor. Oh yeah, what do they do? Of course, people do know what a realtor is, but you want to go ahead and create an image for them in their head based on your own description instead of letting them do it. That way you're in more control of their impression of you. So now you got that out of the way. I also want to share other insights at networking events, things that you're likely to experience. For one, we're going to get a lot of people asking you for your business card, right? And you should be carrying a business card, even though most people will throw it away. And the truth is, a lot of people will say, I'll go ahead and message you, we'll stay in touch, we'll link up. 90% or 95% of the times, I never did the statistics, but you get the idea. I would say a majority of the time, they never ever reach out to you. Especially if they don't give you a business card, they take yours down and say, oh, I'll go ahead and reach out to you. They don't. They're not liars. People are telling the truth at the moment, and then when they get busy throughout the day, throughout the week, they forget about it. So they're not lying to you, so don't take it the wrong way. Next time you see them at another event, hey, you lied to me. You said you were going to reach out to me, and you never did. No, that's not the case. Here's what I want you to do instead. Go ahead and ask them for their LinkedIn right away, if they have it, or their Facebook. That's what I like to do. I like to connect right away, or at least get their business card. If they don't, then you definitely want their LinkedIn, their Facebook, so you connect with them. And my personal opinion, I actually like Facebook a lot more because it's more personal. You get a real sense of who they are. You can share the same interest instead of the fake corporate image on LinkedIn. Everyone has the same kind of professional image. It's almost like dealing with robots. That's why I like Facebook a lot more. You may have the same interest. You may both like to play golf. You may both like to play tennis. Myself, I like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so I would bond a lot more if I meet someone at a networking event and they also like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So definitely go ahead and take down their information, Facebook, LinkedIn, if they don't have their business card. Or, if they don't have a LinkedIn or Facebook, insist on getting their email or phone number. And I say that because sometimes you meet somebody, you really want to connect with them again, and a lot of times they may not come back to the same networking event, and that's your only shot. So definitely get down their contact information, be proactive. You're reaching out to them. Don't sit back and wait for them to come to you. Life is a proactive game. The people that are more proactive are more likely to get on top. And I want you to be on top. So of course, if you're going to a networking event, you're trying to build your network, expand your network, and the tip I just shared with you a moment ago, maybe you can do that, meet someone you really wanted to meet with. But at the end of the day, sometimes they may brush you off, they don't really want to talk to you. It's okay. So what I'm going to share with you next can help you still get your foot in the door with that person. Because the truth is not everybody may like you. You have to accept that and continue networking, meeting more people. By the way, I hope you're not thinking that word networking seems a little manipulative, because networking is a key to growth and success. So one thing you can do to build your network, even with that person you probably wanted to network with, the only one person you wanted to meet at an event doesn't want to talk to you, but the good thing is you now have the information, a way to reach out to them: Facebook, LinkedIn, phone number, email, whatever it is. You can always be proactive and reach out again. Go ahead and reach out, because that's what I like to do. After I meet a lot of people at networking events, I have the business card, I save down their information, and I send all of them a personal message. It could be very short and simple, and saying, hey, it's me, James. My office is at so-and-so, and if you ever need anything, reach out to me, or reach out to me anytime. Or it could be a little bit more personal, touch off on something you talked about that's very memorable at that networking event, to create that bond and say, hey, let's go grab lunch sometime, let's go grab coffee sometime. And the truth about networking events is it's really shallow, the conversations there, the interactions. And what you are really trying to do or should do is, it's almost like you bounce off of each other. Okay, so this is someone I may want to connect with further. You reach out to them at a later time, like sending out a message. That's why I said it's very important to get their information outright, because they are not likely to contact you. Now that you have their information, you can reach out to them. Hey, let's go grab a cup of coffee. Let's go grab lunch. And you could share more ideas, talk more about proposals you have during that lunch or coffee. Don't forget this important step: lunch or coffee or meeting face to face and have a more deeper one-on-one conversation. Keep in mind, a networking event, there's so many people going back and forth. Someone can easily come right in and cut your conversation off. You have to accept that. That's part of the networking experience. So that's why you get their information and you connect with them on a higher level when you invite them out for lunch and coffee. And in case you're thinking cheap, you should be paying for that lunch or coffee when you invite them out. And it's okay. That price you pay can deliver you more value in return in the long run than whatever price you're paying for coffee and lunch. And I take people out to coffee and lunch all the time, because it's a great way to expand and learn more and find potential future business partners. So from there, you really build your network. Those two simple things, that's all it comes down to. There's no secret sauce to it. There's this small truths that once you follow it, you can really expand your network. Don't be like the type of person that I talked to you about, the social climber, trying to meet that CEO or executive, and then when they don't, they get disappointed. Oh, this event sucks, kind of people are over here. And good example is the most recent event I went to, a fintech event, financial tech, where it's all about cryptocurrency, blockchain technology. I met this one person there. He seems like, oh, these are the people out here. Oh, this guy is in real estate. Oh, this guy's a startup company. He was expecting to meet maybe some other CEOs in different companies. And he just had bad attitude all around. Plus, he was just drinking and drunk. Oh, that's one thing. You don't want to get too drunk at these networking events. They may provide alcohol. You're really holding one drink just to loosen yourself up, or have a drink in your hand, so you're not that oddball with nothing in your hand. But other than that, you should not be plastered. But this guy I met at that fintech event last week, most recently, he was drunk, obnoxious, just talking trash about the event, because it's not the type of people he thought he'll meet. It looks like he was expecting to meet executives, CEOs, but instead there were a lot of people in finance and different business areas that are interested in more fintech. But overall, I had a great time. I connected with someone at a fintech event about areas that are not related to fintech at all. We connected more about meditation, believe it or not, and marketing, affiliate marketing. So I felt I had the most value out of that by meeting this person. It doesn't have to always be related to what you went to that event for. That's why I said you want to be the shameless type and just go up and talk to anybody, because you never know what it could lead to. It's all about making connections and expanding your horizon. And again, the real connection is really after the event, when you reach out to each other and set up another meeting together, coffee or lunch. And from there, you start getting invited to the social groups that they're in, start having more lunches together. You talk about what your goals are, what their goals are, and you can be like, hey, I do know somebody that can benefit you. And you set up another lunch and you bring the other person in, or vice versa. They connect you with someone else by setting up a lunch together or sending a message to that person. Hey, this person, James, is going to reach out to you. He's interested in this and that. And then you connect with that person. You get a warm introduction. You go from there and you meet that person and then you start expanding. And that's the real way to kind of essentially like climb up. Let's say you do really want to meet a CEO or executive. You're more likely to reach that CEO or executive effectively doing that step by step, one step at a time, instead of meeting that CEO or executive, some hot shot, and thinking that'll change your life when you go to a networking event. And I tell that from experience. I go to a lot of events and I always see people who only want to talk to the hot shot, the top person in that industry, especially real estate. Real estate is a big game, industry, and it's a game of presenting your ego. So I go to events and I see people just cutting me off just to talk to this one person who supposedly is doing really well. Even I didn't know. I was just talking to him just to talk to him. So I see that all the time, and then they don't want to talk to you unless you're somebody. And I think that's terrible, because it's really the people that are not up there yet, that are still, working the way up, that has the most energy, wanting to take on new ideas and try new things. The people at the top, they really don't want to talk to you. They have the things settled already. They have their own bubble, the people they already work with. But of course, they're still good to network with. I'm not brushing them off. I'm just saying, expand your horizon with different people. Don't just focus on the hot shot, the top executive you want to meet, and that's it, and you ignore everyone else. Keep an open mind. And I want to leave you with this. I personally go to networking events in hopes of meeting someone driven and then share our goals and see how we can connect together and expand on our goals. We're all more connected than ever before. Think of Amazon. They touch off on essentially every single industry. They sell all sorts of products. They sell pantry items, household items, the things you find at grocery stores. And I think they sell cars, and pretty soon they're probably going to sell houses too. So we're all more connected than ever before. We're not in the past where everyone's in their own little industry, isolated, different industries isolated. We're now all connected. So make sure to expand your horizon. Meet the right people to work together to expand your horizon. I'll leave you with that and wish you the best at your next event for networking successfully.